Blue skies, early morning. It's a perfect day for a 106 nautical mile flight from Charlie, Romeo, Quebec, Palomar to Victor, November, Yankee, Van Nuys. We'll be flying the LA Bravo coastal route, and as an added bonus, I'll share a thing or two that I learned about our simulated Cessna from my real-life flight lessons. Let's hop into the pilot's seat and get started. Okay, for starters, have you ever wondered what this handle is right here? It's not to open the cowling. What it's attached to is riveted. What about this little L bracket that sticks out here? And if you look at the strut, what's that black patch there on the strut? Is that for attaching a GoPro? All three are mirrored on the other side of the aircraft. So here's a hint. The fuel cap. If you do not have a ladder, those are for the rock climbing maneuver required to climb up and peer down into the wing fuel tank, which I did this past week. It's funny, I always thought that handle was for opening up the cowling to inspect the engine, but nope, it's for your hand. We've all adjusted the pitch trim in our aircraft, but what is it actually adjusting? I always thought it was the elevator, but nope, it is the trim tab, which is only on the right elevator, and it's like a mini elevator attached to the elevator, which moves up and down with the trim wheel. And while we're back here, I always thought those V-shaped antennas sticking out of the tail were the radio antennas, but nope, those are your VOR antennas. The radio antennas are the ones sticking up from the center of the wings. So I'll keep sharing these interesting tidbits as I find them. It's really cool comparing sim versus reality. Alright, this is a recreation of one of the planes I fly in my flight school, so we'll get everything started up with the fuel shutoff valve in, we'll get the master on. We'll check our fuel left, right are both at full. We'll get the mixture to full rich. We'll crack the throttle an 1/8 of an inch. We'll make sure our beacon is on. Let's get both of our feet on the brakes. And while we're at it, we may as well set the parking brake. Check that the prop is clear. Clear prop. And ignition. Of course, there's a lot more steps on the checklist to start up the aircraft, but we are just going to cut to the chase for this flight and get underway. Okay, we've got our alternator and avionics on. Usually lean the mixture about 1.5 inches. That looks good. We're at 800 RPM. We'll go up here and get all of our comms set up. So we're taking off from a class Delta. We're going to pick up flight following, which will make things easier, which means they'll give us a squawk code when we talk to ground. We were planning on flying the LA Bravo mini route, which means we're going to need the LAX VOR, so we're going to dial that into nav 1 and set up our course deviation indicator for the first radial we'll need to intercept. Palomar ground, Skyhawk 80471, C172 slant golf, with information India, request flight following, destination Van Nuys, Victor, November, Yankee at 6,500 via the coastal route. Departure 127.3, squawk 2313, Cessna 80741. Alright, we'll load up ForeFlight Web and do the flight brief. So we are following the coastline through the Bravo to Van Nuys. On departure, we need to fly through a restricted area. That restricted area from 2,000 and above is by NOTAM only, so it is currently cold, and we will verify that by asking ATC. Then we are going to climb to 6,500, which will take us over the Class Charlie airspace of John Wayne, so we do not need to talk to them. We'll use Dana Point as a waypoint. Then we're going to head towards our intercept for the coastal route. We need to be established on the 123 LAX radio when we are abeam the Vincent Thomas Bridge and be in contact with ATC. They'll give us our Bravo clearance. We'll remain at 6,500 flying that radial. That'll take us past Zamperini Field, overfly the west end of LAX, which should be a site, and then we'll follow the 323 radial, which will take us out of the Bravo. Once out of the Bravo, we still have flight following, so we'll still be talking to ATC. We will be above the Class Charlie at Burbank. We're way too high at 6,500 to land, so we've got to go around the block here and drop all of that altitude, contact Van Nuys, and expect probably a left downwind for runway 34 left. You can find the coastal route in the left margins of the LA terminal access chart. There's the mini route and the coastal route, both of which would work for us. The mini route is nice and low at 2,500, but the coastal route's at 6,500, and that works a little bit better for us because we get to overfly all the airspaces between us and where we're going. Palomar ground, Skyhawk 80471, south hangars with information India, ready to taxi for north departure. Taxi and hold short, runway 24 via Alpha Alpha 1, Skyhawk 471. Alright, this is a payware airport and it is fantastic, although it does have a couple glitches that we're going to see here on our taxi out. I've got my rudder pedals in ever since the last sim update. They've been crazy, so we'll see how it goes. Alright, we'll release the parking brake. And I've had all sorts of weirdness with my rudder pedals. Sometimes they'll just have maximum deflection to the right, which is always fun in flight when the aircraft just rolls over. And right now, even though I've dialed down the sensitivity to 50% on these, they are crazy sensitive. Whoa, check out this guy buzzing the airport. Alright, we're going to pause and fix my rudder sensitivity. Now we're dialed all the way down to 20% of sensitivity, and check out this airplane on the left. That's how I fly, unfortunately. So, a little bit of a glitch. But the rudder pedals are feeling a little more normal. They're a little numb compared to real life. I think maybe 30% is probably the right number. Alright, as we turn out here, check out this view and this modeling. This airport looks fantastic. The only complaint about it is that some of the aircraft spawn points put aircraft, sticking out of buildings, or you saw one that was like in the roof of a building. So there's some things to fix there, but everything else looks really good. We are listening to liveatc.net for Palomar. Alright, we're coming up on our hold short position, so we'll stop here, get everything set up for takeoff. Palomar Tower, Skyhawk 80471, holding short, runway 24. Cleared for departure, runway 24, Skyhawk 471. Alright, game on. So I'll tell you a little bit about the progress on my flight lessons. Later on today, I will post a second video, so you're getting 2 videos this weekend from me, and my second video will be just about the flight lesson progress. So we'll give you some top lines here as we're doing our takeoff roll. So I am 6 lessons in, which is crazy. It's going quickly, right? I think the last time you heard from me, I was 2 lessons in. I've got 4 of those lessons were flying a plane and 2 were ground lessons. I have a blog, and I've made a dedicated page just journaling my flight lessons, so if you're curious, if you're thinking about getting flight lessons and you would like to see what do you do on flight lesson 1, what do you do on flight lesson 2, I've been recording each flight lesson, which plane I flew, if it was a flight or ground lesson, and the topics that we've been covering. The first lesson was on climbs, descents, turns, then we moved into steep turns, slow flight, and the past 2 lessons we've been doing stalls, so we've done both power on and power off stalls. The weather here has been non-cooperative. I've had at least 3 lessons scrubbed due to weather, typically high wind, so it's just been gusting. It seems like for 30 days straight here, and it's always a crosswind. I was joking with my instructor about asking him whether we ever have takeoffs where the wind is down the runway and not at a 90-degree crosswind. He's like, yes, we do, but everything has just been like 90-degree crosswind to the runway. Yesterday's lesson had wind gusting up to 20 knots, and it wasn't fun. It wasn't bad from a motion sick standpoint, but it wasn't fun because it was hard to learn anything. You just get kicked all over the place. I'm shooting for 3 lessons a week and averaging 2. Alright. We'll turn out here, line ourselves up with the coastline, and everything's looking pretty good, so let's sit back and enjoy that awesome flight simulator scenery. That was an awesome scenic flight. How cool is it to fly right over LAX at 6,500? I think I'll have to do another flight using the mini route so that I could see what it looks like at 2,500. We did have AIG traffic running there, although you couldn't really see it from our altitude, but that adds a lot of flavor for your bigger airports. I do have a second video later today for the details of my flight lesson progress, so be sure to look for that and check that out. If you enjoy content like this, be sure to click that like button, leave me a comment, and don't forget to subscribe. Thanks, as always, for flying along with me, and stay tuned for further flight adventures.